Hi there, you're listening to Unnatural Selection, the show about newsy type stuff and things. My name is George.
My name is Tom.
My name is Susie.
And with our powers combined, we are Unnatural Selection. Make sure you visit us at our salubrious home on the web, unnaturalshow.com. You might have noticed
Adam has a killer Susie impression.
Keen-eared listeners might notice that Adam has been supplanted by Susie. He's been usurped. Susie's taken his place.
I like to say.
Yes. The wood has come from Dunsinane Hill, and Adam's time is up, and it's on Macduff.
Like all good podcasts, they finally brought a woman on board to help with the ratings.
That's what, producers were having a chat to us. They're like, listen, mate, we need some diversity. A woman, even a white woman will do. Like, we really just need to break it up a little bit. Ideally, if we could get some people of color, like, that'd be great. We'll take it. But like, at the very least, you need to replace one of you guys with a white woman. So welcome, Susie. Adam was, I voluntold him that he didn't have the time to do the show today. I was like, hey, you're moving house. He goes like, oh yeah, nah, she'll be right. I was like, you should move house and do that instead of this, you dumb idiot.
I mean, he did have the time to day drink with us throughout the afternoon.
Yeah, well, and day drinking does have the side effect of soaking up quite a bit of time, as we've learned. So
that is true.
So yeah, I thought for his benefit and his lovely girlfriend Elle's benefit, I insisted that he not be here.
Well, yes, thank you, Susie, for making yourself available, especially because it was at your house that we were day drinking. So you are understandably knackered from hosting 10 people when, we haven't been able to do any of that for nearly 2 years.
It's true. I am a slightly hungover martyr. What can I say?
Is it? Are you guys finding it socially exhausting hanging out with people in person?
Definitely.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I can do one a week. I remember when we got the word that we could open up again. And I had an influx of text messages and things like, oh, we should do this and we should do that. I'm like, you get you get one.
Mm-hmm.
So-and-so's already asked me to do this thing, so I can see you in like 3 weeks' time once I have mindlessly scrolled on the internet for hours, thus recharging my batteries like every good millennial.
Yes, you need that buffer time. I say in between, sort of social interaction. I can only handle one per weekend, and that's it. That's all I'm good for. And then I need 4 hours of TikTok in order to be able to resume whatever activities.
I feel very seen by that comment.
Yeah.
Oh, see, maybe I'm burning the candle at both ends. I seem to be very much so far, because I imagine this will change as we ease into it. It's been like, my weekend might get packed full of stuff. Like, it might be a brunch and then a dinner that night and all this sort of stuff. But throughout the week,
can't do it.
No, I'm a hermit. I'm at home. I clock off work. I don't do anything. No, just TV and whatever. And then it's all in the evening.
I'm also a hermit
weekends.
During the week.
Yes. Yeah, but
both,
I mean,
to be clear.
Yeah, I just pack my weekend full of stuff. And then throughout the week, if someone's like, oh, you just want to do dinner on Tuesday night, I'm like, no.
What universe?
That's me time.
What crazy situation are you dealing with that you're having dinner with people on a Tuesday that people are even asking you? What is this? What insanity is this that you're getting asked? I'd be like, it's Tuesday. It's a school night. What are you talking? No, get out of my DMs. Oh. What are you talking about?
Nah, pre-pandemic, I loved a midweek catch up.
No,
that was my jam. But
midweek is for lying sideways on the couch in Squid Game and nothing else. That's it. So here we are on the weekend,
we're here
socializing
on the weekend
over the internet. Susie is Susie informed me before the show that she gets her news from us, which first of all, I'm so sorry, Susie. So
terrifying.
That's horrifying because I'm an idiot. So so Susie is going in slightly blind on all this sort of stuff, but what you'll realize is that she'll be able to speak about all of these stories that we're going to mention with as much clarity and alacrity as any of us, which proves that what we do is not a skill. It really is just yelling on the internet. So, top story this week, Scott Morrison has unveiled Australia's plan. Now, for those of you listening, I'm putting plan in air quotes. Plan for a plan to achieve net zero emissions by 2050. So, they've gone to the COP26 climate summit in Glasgow. And there's a delicious picture of Scott Morrison, obviously, like, clearly engineering a photo op with Emmanuel Macron, who he pissed off with by ditching the submarine deal. And Macron's wearing a mask and just kind of like glaring at him. And Scott Morrison's like, "Hey, buddy, do you want to smile for the camera?" Like, so weird that we managed to have a quick handshake and a hello while this photographers are here. That's so weird. How's it going, buddy? How are you?
I am smiling under my mask.
Yes.
Just keep staring at it.
Yes, if looks could kill, Scott Morrison would have burst into 1,000 submarines. But so yeah, the Libs have put together this agreement with the Nationals, and they've got a plan to take to COP26. And Tom, if you could just give us all the details of that plan, real super quick. Yep, that long pause contains just about as much detail as the plan.
As the plan does. It's a very interesting swap, isn't it? Like, there's been so much just lack of clarity, lack of commitment on anything. Like, not even as like a bad plan. They just haven't really engaged in this area at all for years.
Yes.
And now suddenly they have a plan of a plan. While also at the same time there's been like, there was all the mastheads of Murdoch media talking about how we have to fight climate change all of a sudden. And there's just been this massive shift. Now, I don't want to say that it was all Dan Ilich's billboard in New York. But none of this happened till after that happened.
I haven't
seen them in the same room together.
I don't know what the percentages were, but there was a certain, like, there was a non-0% level of influence from Dan Ilich's billboards. Is it just me, or does it seem like these guys...
Bullying works?
Yes, well, yes, number one, bullying works. And, that's, made me who I am today. So, take that for good or for ill. But
Jesus.
But no, it just seems like no one, like all of these people that we have in government that make policy, and we'll talk about the Gladys Berejiklian thing later. It's just like, it just seems like all of this policy is just kind of made up on the go. Like, I had this very naive idea, I think, for many years that, like, people get in the room and they work hard, Hamilton, the room where it happens, people nutting it out, hard negotiations, and, the good, well-intentioned, smart people with different perspectives, battling, and then they come up with a, well-crafted compromise. It just really seems like it's just someone gets told what to do and they go, "Oh, all right then." Well, we'll come up for a plan the plan is to, like, there is no different plan. Like, we've agreed on a net zero by 2050 target. And how has the plan changed? And they're like, well, it's all based on our existing policies, and there's no new money. There's going to be all winners, no losers, all carrots, no sticks, and it's not going to cost any money. And we're like, how are you just, like, rushing together to slap this together 3 weeks before COP26? Like, this has been on the calendar for years that, this was going to happen. And yet it's like 20 minutes before showtime and Barnaby's running like a freestyle rap like Eminem behind the scenes.
On the back of a napkin.
Yeah, palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, this vomit on his sweater already, mom's spaghetti's nervous. But no, that's just our government policy is just scrawled on the back of a napkin. That's, right before they go out on stage. Like, how is this how government works?
I can't help but think of the episode, and I know we quote this all the time, the episode of South Park about the underpants gnomes.
Yep.
And so it's just like, it was these gnomes that they kept stealing people's underpants, and they had this, like, 3-point plan for success and profit. And step 1 was steal all of the underpants.
Mm-hmm.
Step 2, step 3, profit.
Yes.
And that's all this policy kind of feels like at the moment.
Yeah.
So step 1, we go to Glasgow and we tell them that we'll have the emissions thing. Step 2,
Yeah, question mark.
Yeah.
Question mark. What's the plan?
Question mark. Step 3,
Step three,
net zero by
everybody's
2050.
happy.
Yeah. Step 3, re-elected.
Yeah. And like, and that's legitimately the calculus is like, what do I need to say in order for these pricks, these fucking plebs, to re-elect me? Like, there was a guy from one of the founders of Atlassian, which is a famous Australian tech unicorn, company. And he goes, so they're talking about technology, not taxes, and how this whole roadmap to net zero is going to be paved the way with magical technology. He goes, I do technology for a living. This is a fucking pamphlet. Like, there's no detail in here about, they're like, 40% is going to be reduced by technologies that have yet to be invented. Just magic will happen between now and 2050. Something's going to happen. 15% is programs. And it's just like, a lot of this stuff is like people just putting like the things that they are taking credit for, Arena and, these kind of clean energy investments that have been made, and people putting rooftop solar, these kinds of initiatives are things that they fought all along. Like, the things that this government was like, no, that's shit. Let's gut the CSIRO. Let's take this money out. Let's, this is bullshit. This, renewable energy target, these standards, we don't need these. And then they turn around and go, oh, fuck, we did a pretty good job. Hey, like, that's pretty good. All that stuff that you guys made us do that we didn't want to do. That'll get us to 2050.
We've already seen. I don't think I shared this into the thing, but Matthias Cormann, in his post-political life, then joining. I forget. He's like a chair in a climate action committee, like, globally. I can't remember. Yeah, which is hilarious, and people called him out on it at the time. But he's now spruiking that people should be doing stricter carbon pricing.
Oh, he basically advocated a carbon tax. Like,
a carbon tax.
He was kind of walking the line, like trying to not piss off anyone back home, but he was more or less saying, we need some sort of price on carbon, Like, it was more or less saying that. And
his accent.
Yeah, that nailed it. That was the Austrian accent.
You just heard Matthias and you thought Austrian. Yeah.
Sorry. Matthias Cormann, and I obviously nailed the accent. So he's now the OECD Secretary General. So it's, kind of now he's a bigwig. This was that role that they flew him all over the place for. To get him this job back last year.
It's just, it's again like wild, same as like all the Murdoch mastheads. It's like, and there's just a huge change in this attitude. So like, I don't know, I don't want to give Matthias the credit of feeling like, he was always like in favor of these policies, but he towed the party line. I'm like, no, this is policy on the run, is the expression they always do. But yeah, I think it really is. I don't know. Hate to throw this out there, but all the, thanks to the internet and all these sorts of things, that the more real-time response that I think politics just gets out of the people that re-elect them means that they are always trying to just keep their fingers on the pulse.
On polling.
And, but like just such immediate polling but not so much official polling, just like, the Twitter rage and the Facebook stuff and all that sort of jazz, and that then they've maybe now finally accepted that, okay, it's shifted enough towards actually having to do something that we should do something now. But yeah, I guess they probably do walk out just to be like, all right, so we need a plan that we can sell to do this pivot. We've just decided to do the pivot because it looks like that's the way the polling's going.
It's not just polling. It's like the Australian Business Council. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Even the corporate bigwigs are like, hey, you need to have a 50% reduction by 2030. Like, that is more ambitious than where the government is. Like, the people who give you your corrupt money in bags of fucking canvas with dollar signs printed on them, even they're like, we probably need to be a little bit more ambitious on climate because the world's going to burn. And like, we factored that into our actuarial tables. Like, we know where business is going and it's not going to be coal fired. You know what? It's a what's a term when someone lies to you and makes you feel like you're crazy? Gaslighting. It's a gaslit powered recovery. That's what this whole plan is. It's just them gaslighting us, just going, Matt, absolutely climate activists. I fucking, absolutely just massive on climate and have been the whole time, smash cut to a picture with Scott Morrison on the floor of Parliament, like holding a piece of coal going, oh, it's coal. Are you guys afraid of coal? Like that was not that long ago. It's not like sepia toned, like it's from the 70s. We've dug up some archival material. That was like 2016. Like it was very recent. And they're just like, yeah, it's just gas-fired recovery, hydrogen, carbon capture, mate. It's all about the bloody, gas-fired recovery. Absolutely. We were totally in favor of this the whole time. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
It's just wild how much of it is around the technologies that are yet to be invented. Because this feels like, I remember in primary school, I remember that we had to come up with like some kind of invention. Or like they were being like, come up with maybe inventions that might help the environment. And me being a fucking idiot as a child, just kind of completely misunderstood the assignment and didn't realize that I probably shouldn't go a little sci-fi with it. And I just drew like this robot. And I'm like, it's a robot that picks up garbage and turns it into energy. And I'm like, how does it work? I'm like, oh, you see, it picks up the garbage. Blank, and then energy.
Profit,
yeah, all that sort of stuff. I was like, this is what I came up with as a child, and I feel that has more detail than this plan.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Yeah, it's an absolute joke. But speaking of the Hamilton reference you were making earlier of the room where it happens, what did they trade away to the Nationals, do we think?
Oh, we don't know. And they refuse to answer questions about it, which is hilarious. They're like, this plan won't cost us anything, no taxes. And they're like, what about all the pork barreling you had to give away to the Nationals to get this concession? Like, how much did that cost? What was it? And they're like, we're not prepared to discuss that. It's like, we're the taxpayers. It's our money. What do you mean you're not prepared to discuss the deal? What do you mean? Like, it's that you came to a deal, you went into a room, like, cloud, ? And then came out with a deal. Okay, but like, you're our government. You're meant to represent. We're the public. How do we not know the details of this deal? That's like, anyway. So Angus Taylor, we'll play the clip and you can see him. In case you're thinking I'm oversimplifying it, and like George. I'm not. This is the level.
Susie, I think we broke him. We've broken him already.
It's like when Tom talks about the $1 trillion coin.
Oh, fuck that coin.
Okay, so let's have a look at Angus Taylor.
Yes,
talking some
click
shit.
to watch the stream. Oh, yeah.
Okay, but just sticking with this cost question, the $20 billion you mentioned there is just for the next... for this decade. The heavy lifting under your plan is what comes after 2030. So what's the full cost to get to net zero?
Well, that run rate of the money we're spending over the next decade is what we'd expect into the future.
So another 20 for the next decade and another 20 for the following decade?
Well, no, the key to this is by investing in R&D, spending on technology, which we do as a country in a significant way as it is, prioritising those technologies that can bring down emissions. We allow the private sector to deploy these technologies, to invest in them, households, businesses, in a way which strengthens their businesses and which is good for them. And that enhances the economy. And it's why we're confident we can actually create jobs through this plan. We can strengthen the economy through this plan and not do damage to those traditional industries.
No, well, and I understand that's what you're hoping, but just to be clear, what are taxpayers going to have to pay under your plan to get to net zero?
Well, taxpayers are not paying anything. We're not raising taxes. I mean, that's the important point here.
Well, you're using taxpayers' dollars.
In fact, we've been bringing...
you're using taxpayers' dollars, right? Which could either be used to pay off debt or spend on hospitals or whatever. You're using taxpayers' dollars. $20 billion you mentioned to get to 2030. What is the to get to net zero by 2050? What's the cost to taxpayers?
Well, let's be clear about what that $20 billion is. That's money that we've invested through ARENA, the CFC, CSIRO, Climate Solutions Fund, a range of different sources to bring down the costs of those technologies so they can raise productivity, strengthen the economy and grow the economy. So it's not going to... the whole point of this is we don't need to raise taxes,
No, I'm
David.
I'm not asking you whether you're going to raise taxes.
We certainly don't need to impose...
I'm just asking what the total cost is. Is it $20 billion? Is that the total cost to get to net zero
Well,
by 2050?
I've answered your question.
With respect, you've said the $20 billion is through to 2030. Is it $20 billion in total? Are you suggesting that's all taxpayers will have to stump up?
To put us on target, to reach those outcomes on clean steel, clean aluminium, stored energy and so on, hydrogen, over the next 10 years, we've allocated $20 billion of funding through those sources that I've been describing. Future governments will allocate as they see fit in the 2030s and 2040s. I'm not going to commit future governments in the 2030s and 2040s, but that's what we need.
Well, this is your plan,
We don't need to
Your
raise
plan's
taxes.
still 2050.
We don't need to impose a carbon tax.
I love David Spears sometimes. Like, what did he say at the start that stuck out to me? He was like, well, yes, I understand that's what you're hoping.
Yeah. Like, the plan is, let's spend $20 billion. The $20 billion comes from somewhere. It's not taxpayers, right? $20 billion goes in.
Well, more, it does come from taxpayers, but we're not raising taxes.
We're not raising taxes. There's a magical $20 billion that's appeared. Okay, we found it behind the couch, job seeker. We found $20 billion. Okay, it's like when you're going through your shirts. You go, oh, look, there's a 20. Okay, $20 billion. $20 billion goes in. Maybe some money comes out in 2040, 2050.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen in 2040, 2050, but it's a 2050 plan. Not my business. Don't worry about it.
I'll be dead by then. No big deal.
We'll all be dead by then. We'll all be underwater, so it doesn't matter. But my Rio Tinto shares will fucking skyrocket, so that's good. And like, in case you're thinking, I don't want people to think like, oh, it's very complicated and people don't understand. Like you, the listener, you've understood perfectly. Yeah. It's like money goes in, the climate change comes out sorted. Like, and there's just a big fucking question mark over all of the detail in between. And all of the work that's been done is being done by individuals and everyday Australians. The solar panels, buying electric cars, like all the progress we've made is us doing it. And it's great, but it's not enough to achieve what we actually need to achieve if we would like to keep the Maldives. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. So what do you think, Susie? Do you think a career in politics is on the cards for you? What do you reckon?
I'm too empathetic. I think that's the problem. I can't go in and wheel and deal to that extent. I'd just be ending up giving everyone what they want, and then my constituents aren't exactly thrilled with me, which kind of feels like the way things are anyway. So, but I must admit, who was oh my God, I can't believe I've forgotten her name. She retired recently, blonde.
I was going to say, if it's Gladys Berejiklian, she didn't retire.
No,
Julie Bishop.
Yeah, I must admit, I loved, this is going to sound very superficial, but I loved that fact that she had a wardrobe budget. So that's,
she definitely did have nice coats.
That's enticing.
Ideas.
If that's if that's part of the taxpayer system of being in politics, a wardrobe budget does seem enticing, but I'm not quite ready to sell my soul just yet.
I mean, look, I'm sure in that $20 billion that's going to get thrown around, there'll be some pork in there for a little bit of a budget, not budget.
Wardrobe budget.
Wardrobe refresh. Yeah, I'm sure we can snake away a little bit of pork.
Good to know.
Speaking of pork, Melted Candle and disgraced MP Darryl Maguire was testifying at ICAC this week, and
sorry,
this is good. I'm getting the feedback live.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Melted Candle.
The man looks like you've picked him up at dusk for $29.99. He just really looks like he's lavender scented. And is just falling apart. But yeah, he had some shit to talk about Gladys Berejiklian, a bunch of taped calls of her not just admitting to proving that she lied about the things that we know that she lied about, but then also going the extra step of saying that she's going to essentially corruptly secure funding for his situations in Wagga Wagga. So this Gladys Berejiklian was the LNP premiere, so I'll share that video as well if you guys would see that. I just love that there's taped calls.
Well, yeah, they were watching them for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I have to wonder, like, what sort of kicked all of this off? Like, what was the inciting incident that they've got? Like, there must have been some corruption going on for a pretty significant amount of time for ICAC to get the call and say, like, hey, you guys should be, like, to have enough justification to tap calls in the first place. There's, like, quite a not insignificant standard of, like, legal process to get to that point. You know, just, like, tap the Premier's phones on a whim, right? Like, shit must have been going on before this to get to this point. But yeah, so let's listen to, just, is it me or does Gladys sound like the most disinterested girlfriend ever? Just sounds like Daryl Maguire's just really
in the calls,
just really giving her the shits.
Well, yeah, I guess we'll play the clip, so we can hear it. But yeah, no, I know what you mean.
See it? You don't see. I don't want to argue with you. I just need to go and chill because you've stressed me out.
All right, I'll go and chill. You just throw money at Wagga.
I'll throw money at Wagga. Don't you worry about that.
Just listen to
Lots
me.
of it.
Can we play extract 3 now, please?
All right.
I'll give a parental advisory before we play this recording.
Oh dear.
I'll give an apology for language.
All right, and I'll throw money at Wagga. You just have to do what's right from your end, otherwise you'll kill me.
No, it's fine. I'm batting for you. You just need to know what the right things are to throw money at Wagga. And you
I
need,
already know. You've already told me the 3 top things.
and you need to and go and give them a stadium. Give them a
I'll do that. I'll
stadium.
do that too. I'll do that too. Don't worry.
Well, the bureaucrats knocked it all out.
yes,
Idiot.
well, yes, but I can overrule them anyway.
I take it in those 2 extracts you agree that one of the voices is yours and one is Ms. Berejiklian's?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, so it might have been a little bit hard to hear there, but yeah, basically Gladys Berejiklian said she was going to throw money at her boyfriend's electorate, which kind of, like, maybe I'm naive, sounds like the definition of corruption, doesn't it?
I mean, a little, certainly maybe a misuse of power in those sorts of terms. But no, you see what you mean by, like, she sounds like really disinterested while talking to him. But the
She's like,
tone
yes,
that I
fine,
get from
I'll
that,
do the corrupt, and he's like, are you gonna throw money at Wagga? Like, come on, man. Like, yeah, she's just going like, yeah, so whatever. Yes, I'll be corrupt. Leave me alone.
oh yeah, like the tone I get from it is that she knows that. Like, it sounds like she's sort of aware of, like, you know, there's certain things we probably should or shouldn't say, or I shouldn't maybe agree to, or whatever. But then also just saying things like, "Oh yeah, I can overrule them. Don't worry about it."
Yeah,
it's like, huh?
or
Like
when
those
she,
two
in
things.
another clip where she says, yeah, I'll get Dom to put it in, whatever it is, 140, 170 mil for hospital. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I'll tell him to do it. Like, it's just like, how is this how decisions are made? How is this how anything happens? Like, surely there was a 10-point plan, a rigorous process, like, you know, maybe just a spreadsheet, maybe just like a pros and cons list of like, send $170 million here or there. Like, maybe there was some sort of work done to...
You mean a color-coded Excel sheet?
Well,
I thought that's gotten the Liberal Party into trouble before, George.
Susie, you've turned sideways.
I didn't know if that was just my screen, but yeah, well, I thought it was an interesting style choice, but
there we go.
It's very cool. Still sideways.
Still sideways.
I'll just lean sideways. It'll be fine.
Nope, that's my wall. This is ridiculous.
Not better.
In the camera. All right, love it. This is fantastic for people at home.
Alrighty. So,
it's all right. We'll just crane our necks every time we want to talk to Sue.
So, hey, buddy, how's it going?
I listened to this podcast, called Fake Doctors, Real Friends, the Scrub podcast, and one of the actress who plays Elliot.
Sarah Chalk. Yeah.
Sarah Chalk. She does it, and every time she's on there, it's ridiculous and some technical difficulties. And I'm just like, how does this woman? She records her own voiceover for Rick and Morty, and she can't get the fucking camera right. What is wrong with her?
Now you understand.
And now, oh my god, I feel like the professor that has the potato filter on, and he's trying to give a lecture.
Hey, Judge,
trying to turn it off.
Judge, I'm not a cat.
I don't. But I'm so sorry.
I just love the idea of Gladys Berejiklian going and chilling. I just need to go and chill.
Gotta go. Just need a glass of Savvy beer and watch Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what do you think is Gladys's go-to chill activity other than corruptly allocating money to places where it doesn't belong? Allegedly.
Yeah, I get a Real Housewives vibe. I feel like she would definitely like.
You think she's a Bravo girl?
Oh, for sure. She wears a lot of blazers.
Whoosh! This has gone over my head. I do not watch this show.
No, I mean neither do I. But I'm aware of pop. I understand. Real Housewives of X. They get really drunk and they throw drinks in each other's faces. That's the show, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Okay. I get it.
Yeah. All right. No, I understand the appeal now.
Sign me up for 12 seasons and 47 spin-offs. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's just some crazy I don't know, I heard that clip earlier in the week and just thought, wait, what? Like, no, it's all, I don't know, it boggles my mind how seemingly blatant a lot of it is. Like, I know there's still due process and there's still, I think, I don't have the quote in front of me, but I thought Mr. Maguire had a sort of a bit of an interesting spin on that conversation, like his interpretations of what they were talking about or the expressions being used, like saying it's just politics at play, like people just say things like, oh, throw money at, like that doesn't imply anything, etc. But yeah, normally I expect this kind of stuff to be shrouded in that kind of mystery or of that kind of like leeway kind of here or there, not to sort of seem so bloody obvious in my opinion.
It is embarrassing how like obvious the alleged corruption is, right? Like it's literally just like you just think there should be more to it. Like it should be, I don't know. Is there more? I feel like there should be more cloak and daggers, dead drops in parks. Like it should be a little more sophisticated than it is. And it's just like guys having sex with the premier, guy gets $170 million for his district. Like it really sometimes is as basic as you think it is. I'm just embarrassed that it's a lot, that's not more sophisticated corruption. Where's the scheme?
You gotta, game's gotta respect game.
Anyway, so I'm just like Gladys Berejiklian I'm glad she's gone, and I'm not sorry that she's gone, and I don't understand. Like for the life of me, I will never understand this media narrative that's being talked about. We're like, oh, poor Gladys, she had a nasty boyfriend who done did her dirty, and I'm like, she's on tape talking about like allocating money to her boyfriend's district for the sake of like it is, even if it's not like strictly illegal, it is like and
overruling decisions, like doing the Dutton thing, right? Like we talked about this ages ago, that like in Peter Dutton's electorate, his department's advice was like, cool, we broke down candidates for funding for a thing, these are the recommendations that we have, and he went nah, and just picked the ones he wanted. And it's like, okay, that's not against the rules, but it's a bit fucked.
But it should be. Like, if it's not, it definitely should be against the rules. Like, I don't know. I just don't understand where this whole narrative has come from. Like, oh, Gladys is so hard done, but I liked her. Oh, no, I liked Gladys. Oh, she was all right. Ah, nah, give her a break. What's $170 million between friends? Like, it's...
members of a love circle, I thought she referred to him as at one point, didn't she? Just so that he was part of her love circle.
Like he was on rotation with other members of.
I don't know.
Love circle.
I don't know. I don't think I've heard the term love circle before.
Sounds like something Gwyneth Paltrow would say on Goop.
Yes. Yeah. This is
what would the Goop love circle product be? I know she doesn't she like shoving coffee grounds in your vag or something. I don't know what with a love circle.
It seems like there's a lot of things that she's putting in her vagina, Gwyneth Paltrow. It seems like there's a vagina candle. Okay, there's a jade egg that you put in the vagina. It seems very vagina based as far as I can tell.
You must steam your yoni. That was another thing.
Your yoni.
Your yoni. That's what you call your vagina. Is your yoni.
No, George, wasn't that term you were talking about this morning for nonna?
So your lovely girlfriend Alice mistakenly was informed that
was tricked by a friend.
That the word nonna, meaning grandmother in Italian, was actually pronounced nonna. Like, none of your fucking business how to pronounce Italian nonnas. But so she was misled. So that friend of your girlfriend's, Alice, is an awful person who threw a hand grenade into her life, and he should be punished.
He's a very funny, cheeky bastard. Love it.
Yes. And, maybe we can fix him up with Gladys Berejiklian. She's single now, so.
Oh, dear.
Well, I guess maybe potentially, because, again, the love circle.
Does he need $170 million?
Where's the quote? That Berejiklian, in a text message, referred to Daryl Maguire as, quote, family.
Ugh.
And Berejiklian resisted using that description initially, saying it wasn't legally correct or correct under the definition of the ministerial code. She then said she considered Maguire as part of her, quote, love circle.
Family, like,
Read into that what you will.
Unless I'm very much mistaken, you don't have secret sex with your family, or maybe you do if the internet's any indication.
No, if you are, like, I want to be on the record with this. If you are having sex with your family, it cannot be in secret.
What do you mean?
You said, you shouldn't be having secret sex with your family. No, it should be very public and everyone aware. Fact.
Alrighty. Daryl Maguire, ladies and gentlemen.
that was too long a pause.
I was just,
almost like you think I'm serious. Yeah. Sorry, Susie, go ahead.
It's just the whole situation. I feel like obviously it's disappointing that there's corruption and things like that, but like, isn't she one of the first elected female politicians in a higher level of power in this country? Like, I know Julia Gillard wasn't elected and she took over power, but
be the first New South Wales premier who was female, I would think.
Yeah, and so now it's this mammoth achievement is now shrouded in, oh, well, she was just taking advantage of a man. And, I can't help but think in the future when someone's going to see a woman's name in the ballot, they're like, oh, yes, but we elected Gladys and she did us dirty. So obviously women don't have the correct capacities to separate business and pleasure.
It is weirdly infantilizing, isn't it? To be like, oh, she's just a silly widow lady. She didn't know what was going on. Like,
she just,
no, she was a woman and she made some terrible decisions and now she's paying the political cost for them. Mind you, like, no actual criminal cost, no civil penalties. It's really just like you lost your job being the head of the government. Like it is weirdly sort of, infantilizing to a woman to say like she isn't responsible for her own choices. Like, that's how
she just wanted to get her boyfriend a present. It's hard to buy for the man in your life.
Right?
Yeah, yes. Somehow it's still all about him.
Yes.
He had plenty of socks and underpants, so why not give him a stadium?
What do you get for the man who has everything?
Yeah.
Another shooting club. I know what you mean. It was always disappointing when like the trailblazing person does awful things. Like Margaret Thatcher. Another great example, right? Of like first female Prime Minister of England, and oh boy, she was terrible.
You'll know when we've achieved full equality when women can be as abjectly awful and corrupt and incompetent as men, and they're not forgiven for it. There's just accepted that they're also garbage people. Like, that's how you know that we've achieved true equality.
Yeah. But based on Adam's like 12-step plan, still re-elected and like, totally left unaccountable. And
she's look.
And we've truly made it.
Glass
ceiling. I barely know it.
We agree that joke doesn't work in that context. We all agree that she's too corrupt for state politics, but maybe she's just corrupt enough for federal politics.
Yeah, no ICAC here, baby.
Yeah. We do what we want up in federal, baby.
Oh yeah, federal can get away with whatever they want.
Barnaby's on his second family that you know of. He's like 6 families deep at this point. These are just the ones we told you about. Oh. Come on, federal baby, where the grass is greener.
Like, heck, even if you become Prime Minister, you still don't have to leave Sydney.
Yeah, yeah, true. So, speaking of federal government, the federal government under Scott Morrison has been accused of importing US-style voter ID laws, which they're looking to pass in an attempt to crack down on voter fraud, which the Australian Electoral Commission, who seems to know somewhat about these things, has described as, quote, vanishingly small, much like Scott Morrison's. No, I'm not gonna do that. Voters would be required to show identification before casting their ballot under new laws proposed by the federal government, but the move is facing fierce criticism from political opponents. So yeah, very much like the Republicans over in the States, they're wanting people to have to show some form of ID before they vote, which notoriously is like a regressive thing that punishes marginal people and, you know, homeless people and people who don't speak English. And guess what? All those people don't tend to vote for the rich white guys that empower their mates in big business, which typically tend to be Republicans, or in our case, the Liberal Party.
And it's an interesting extra layer because, when we talk about this in the context of the states, of just the sheer amount of, you know, gerrymandering and ways to be like making it harder for people to vote, particularly, marginalized people. As they don't have compulsory voting, there's still that you know, the end goal being, oh, we've made it so hard for these people to vote, they just won't, and great. But here in Australia, voting is illegal. You can be fined for it.
Yes.
All that sort of stuff. So, okay, you're bringing in mandatory ID laws, then unless you make it super easy to get identification that fits your standards or all that sort of jazz, then you are effectively backing people into a crime.
Yes.
That's why we have our, as people talk about for the states, that, it's always so bullshit. It's on a Tuesday and I can't take off work, and all the other different ways that they make it hard for people. But like in Australia, it's on a Saturday, which is a day off for most people. Like, you know, when I worked in retail, I sometimes had to go vote before I go to work and stuff like that. But it makes it as easy as possible in that way, and that there's booths everywhere, and
and you can vote early.
There's early voting and all that sort of stuff. They make it super easy for you to do because we have to do it, so they have to make it convenient to do.
What's the problem that's being solved by this? That's my question. Like, who is going like, you know what we really need to do? We need to make it harder for people to vote. And what's this? Like, how do we achieve that result? Like what was the inciting incident? Like, they don't have time to deal with the respect at work report. They only implemented a handful out of the whatever it was 56 thing, and they're like, oh, it's too busy, COVID, we're too busy, we're moving too fast, we don't have time to do any of that sort of stuff. But like, new voter ID laws for no fucking reason whatsoever that nobody asked for, that would benefit us and nobody else, we've absolutely got time for that we definitely have time for. That's cool. But should we maybe clamp down on sexual harassment with the workplace? No, well, I mean, it's very busy. It's just moving too quickly. Couldn't possibly. How could we?
No.
Susan, as a human female, how do you how do you feel about that? There we go.
It feels like a distraction technique, because it goes back to what you say. If we all have to vote, then what's the point in making it harder? Is it a revenue thing? Like, people are trying to get extra money from finding it? Because if you don't want people to vote, then stop making voting mandatory. But of course, no one will say that.
They would absolutely love to do that.
Oh, they'd love that. Yeah.
Exactly. I just don't, like, who is this for? What is this trying to prove? Like, because it's obviously not, it may go through, because who knows the way that people are voting nowadays, but it kind of just feels like you're eating your own tail. It's not going to achieve the goal that you want. So why even set out to do it in the first place, unless you want sort of, kind of feels like a look over there tactic, like we're talking about this so that they can go do something else.
I just imagine, like, who's looking at this going, you know what we need? More American fuckery. That's what we need to import. This is going so well for them over in the United States that this is absolutely something that we need. You know what else we need? AR-15s. Like, I'm just looking at seeing what's going on over there, and we should bring back semi-automatic weapons, bump stocks, all that sort of shit.
Well, George, remember James Ashby of One Nation was all like, let's go over to the States and get on the source and
Yes.
talk about bringing more gun control, reducing gun control, over in Australia. So, we kid, but they kind of also want to do that.
What's with all this pesky gun control? My guns are so controlled. I want them loose. I want them out in the. I need to air my guns out. I need my loose guns. Can't have all these tightly controlled guns. I'm a man. I'm not a machine. So we're all no on voter ID laws. Nay. I think.
Yeah, no, if I trust someone like the AEC to at least be able to report on whether or not there has been instances of voter fraud that is of enough concern to warrant doing anything. So it's sort of there's huge no on voter ID laws because people haven't been exploiting the system that we currently have. So it's clearly a tactic, either by, as Susie said, of a look over here tactic of let's just talk about something else while we're trying to not be embarrassed by something else or that they're doing something we don't even know about. Or, they just don't want non-white rich people voting because it'll cost them elections in future. I don't know. It just always seems to be it'll swing to benefit. Yeah, it'll benefit their side of politics. Doing this.
It really does seem like their thoughts all day, every day, just turn to, it's just the eye of Sauron, just gazing at itself. What can I do to make my own life easier? At no point are they sort of thinking about how to serve the electorate or, the point of government. What is the point of government? It is to make people's lives better. And it seems like 0% of the time are they focused on actually doing that unless it coincides with their narrow political self-interest. If helping the climate helps us not lose seats in inner city, Sydney and Melbourne, us the Liberals, then I guess we'll save the world. But it's only they only ever do anything insofar as it affects their narrow political self-interest. It's yes, I guess if they do the right thing for the wrong reasons, that's good. But it does feel slightly gaslighty to be we were in favor of all the good things the whole time. You guys were wrong. You haven't been listening the whole time that that you've been alive and that we've been alive and that we've all been talking. We've all been on the same side.
I'd imagine also pushing things like these kind of voter ID laws would be it would make a huge change to voting in places like the Northern Territory, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Susie, you're from the Northern Territory, but I would imagine that there would be there'd be whole Indigenous Australian communities out there who wouldn't have the kind of ID that they're talking about here just because of, where they live and just they don't need them. But those people would lose a voice in this instance. Well, those people would just be committing a crime because they can't vote under that
who
stringent
needs
circumstances.
Less representation in Parliament? Indigenous Australians. They've had too much power for too long.
It also reeks of ableism as well. The easiest form of identification that you get for these things is a driver's license.
Yes.
What if you physically cannot drive?
It means that people need to go out of their way to get a proof of age card, and they need to pay for it, and they need to organize it. As you say, if you're in a very rural community, or if you're an Indigenous community, or if you're disabled, there's all of these long list of reasons why that might be difficult for you or you're just poor. You don't have $80 to go and spend on a government issued ID, so you have the privilege of vote, the franchise,
all the time to take off work to go do it. And,
exactly. All this sort of stuff. It is inherently kind of regressive in that way. Who's got time to go and do all that stuff? The guy who's the CEO of his own company and owns a house in Toorak and can come and go as he pleases, and as Maybach has a driver's license.
And is aware that their driver's license isn't expired. That's the other thing as well.
Yeah. Why would you ever make voting more difficult to do? It is already difficult enough to turn up at a predetermined time and place on a day, look through the candidates, you line up, wait for 20 minutes, it is already enough of a to-do to get the entire country to do this thing on this day at one time. Why would you introduce additional hurdles? It just doesn't Doesn't wash, man.
Because the people who'd be voting might not like you.
Yeah, but
That's the thing.
reason.
You've got all of the Gen Zers getting closer and closer to 18, and it would be terrifying in their position.
Mm.
yeah,
I'm very much looking forward to this Gen Z wave when that happens, because every election they're like, oh, they're fucked. Younger people are getting in, libs are fucked, man. And then it's always like Labour loses the unlosable election.
Yes.
And you're like, God damn it.
Yeah, the demographics, mate. There's no way that we could possibly. Oh, we lost again. Okay, all right. Maybe Bill Shorten again.
Shit.
Bill Shorten or Albo. We'll just take turns losing.
Somebody get Elbow on TikTok.
That'll solve it. Get him on TikTok.
Yeah.
Get him on. He's on Twitter. He's tearing it up on Twitter.
Someone get a video of him walking into Parliament House to Into the Thick of It. Stat! Now!
I really think we need him. We need Anthony. We need Albo saying "Yes, Queen," and that'll really connect with the young voters, I think.
Yeah. Can we get him in front of the town of Yass, just outside of Canberra?
Honestly, not a bad
Get
idea.
him to the Yass side.
Not a bad idea.
It's a 45-minute drive from Canberra. He spends a lot of time in Canberra. He'd be back by lunch.
Honestly,
I
Albo,
reckon-
you've wasted way more time than getting a photo opportunity in front of the town of Yass.
All right.
So,
Speaking of wasting time, let me say,
Yes.
you've wasted yours.
No.
listening to
we need to talk about our favorite story, which broke this afternoon.
Oh, Donut Dick!
Donut
Yes!
Donut Dick Tim Smith makes a return from screaming at Dan Andrews on the internet, and he was busy getting on the beers at Dan Andrews' suggestion. It really is Dan Andrews' fault.
It's Dan
If
Andrews'
you think
fault.
about it, Tim Smith got
Yeah.
on the beers and had a few too many beers and crashed his car as he was over twice the legal blood alcohol limit, nearly 3 times. So the legal blood alcohol limit is 0.05, he was 0.13. So he was shit-faced. And
He was sloshed.
Yeah.
Luckily, no one was injured, as far as I can tell.
Thank God.
Yeah, I thought he might have hit another car. Maybe that car was parked. Who knows? But yeah, no one was injured.
And he says, quote, after a dinner with friends, I believed I was under the legal limit to drive home. This was
I
not
bet
the
you
case.
did.
I
I think when you're at 0.13, you think you're capable of anything.
He really
I'm
does,
invincible.
Yeah.
does wonders for your confidence. I saw the
Yeah.
face of God, and he told me I could drive.
He told me I could drive. But God, how do you know how an automobile works?
Yes. I think you can drive also on the way home, pick up a kebab.
Yes. Yeah, I also thought, it's I just don't understand, that is not an error of judgment. Being 0.13 is
That's pretty drunk.
very drunk.
Wow.
I looked up the symptoms of what happens to your body when you're at 0.13. And they said one of the things was serious errors of perception and judgment. And I said, but it's Tim Smith. How would you know?
Yeah, I was about to say he's been drunk the whole time, George.
Yeah,
How would you know?
He's been
This is the soberest
microdosing,
he's been in months. Yeah.
microdosing vodka the whole time. He's just been taking little sips throughout the the
Bloody brilliant. But
hard
it
to
is just
tell.
funny. I can even see now, how he could spin this in one of his shitting on the Vic Labour Party memes of being like, well, if Dan Andrews hadn't lifted restrictions so fucking quickly and uncautiously, I wouldn't have been out allowed to drink. Now would I? I wouldn't have been out getting on the beer.
Did you hear that Get on the Beer song? It was very catchy. It's all Dan Andrews'
Very
fault.
catchy.
Yeah, it's
Very catchy.
all entirely his fault. He gave us nice weather for me to go out and get pissed.
Oh yeah, so
Didn't have to wear a mask. So
Didn't
the
have to
wine
wear a
could get to
mask.
the mouth. So there we go.
Yep. It just made it easier for all the pints to just get to my mouth.
There was a photo that he retweeted without attribution, by the way. Just took some guy's photo and and used it, saying, it's a great night to dine outside Dan Andrews on the night of a storm. But this
we
was,
had an insane
I saw
storm.
that.
but this was the day before we hit the 80% mark, which meant that people could dine indoors again. And it wasn't a
The
big
storm
deal.
started at 10 p.m. on
Thursday.
Thursday night. And so, when we all woke up Friday morning, it was still raging like insane winds, rain, all that sort of stuff. And he was like, oh yeah, great weather for only outside dining. I'm like, literally in like 12 hours that changes.
You won't be able to dine, like unless you're looking to have lunch somewhere. Like by the time you're able to dine at 6 o'clock tonight, you can. Like
you can.
It was just bloody Dan Andrews controlling the weather with this Illuminati cloud spawns. You're spawning clouds. Bloody Dan Andrews.
Absolutely wild. I can't decide whether or not he, Tim Smith, I'm talking about here, is just an absolute petty nut bar, or is he just a troll that managed to stumble into political office? And he just loves doing trolly memes.
I mean, both.
It could be both.
Both is good.
Porque no las dos. So he resigned from the front bench. Still a minister though, so it's good to know that the standard Step 4, resigned from the front bench. Exactly right.
Yep.
Obviously, driving drunk and potentially killing someone, not the behavioural standard that we set for front bench ministers, but for backbench ministers, totally fine. Get shit-faced guys,
totally
have fun.
Fine. I just bet. What was that guy's name? Bernie?
You're wealthy. These guys make like $200K a year. Get an Uber, you troll.
You can afford an extra large too, all that leg room.
You could probably put it on your work, like your tax, like you could probably charge it to the taxpayer. No one would find out. Like unless you take $170 million worth of Ubers. Yeah, that's what Peter Slipper went down for, was cab charges back in the day, which seems hilarious in retrospect. But like,
I wonder how far $170 million would get you in one trip on an Uber.
I reckon you could circumnavigate the globe.
Yeah, I wonder like how. Well, because obviously
Several
you
times.
can't drive into another country from Australia. I wonder, unless you go to that tiny little country that's seceded somewhere in WA. But I wonder how many like circuits around the country.
There's Uber choppers, so you can fly somewhere.
Oh, there's like the Uber Air thing as well, isn't there?
We'll call Bronwyn Bishop. Let her know.
Yeah, get the Bronny copter. Woo!
So goodbye to Tim Donut Dick Smith. You will not be missed. I'm just glad
because you'll probably come back.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
I'm just glad he didn't kill anyone. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, could you imagine?
Oh, yeah. We'll be having a very different conversation.
This is me showing my ignorance, but can you still, like, surely there'll be criminal charges. Can you still serve in a position like that when charged with some criminal action?
I'm not 100%. We were talking to your partner, Susie Sam, about that today with his law knowledge.
As far as I'm aware, there's no legal requirement for you to step down as a result of having committed a crime, unless it's like, I don't know. There might be ministerial codes of conduct that suggest that you should resign, but like, as I understand, the member of parliament needs to be like removed. That is a thing that needs to be done to them. And may or may not be done. Like if it was a serial killer, obviously you remove him. But if it's someone who got drunk, you go, see the whole.
Yeah, because the kinds of things. Yeah, the kinds of things that we've seen people removed for, like, the stuff with the citizenship and bankruptcy and all that, I think that's in the Constitution. I don't know what the crime
being pissed as a fart on the road.
Yeah, too many drinky poos.
Yeah.
As we all know, the guys who wrote the Constitution always shit-faced. Always.
And completely infallible and could not have maybe tightened it up a little.
Yeah.
Get it together, Ben Franklin, honestly.
Wrong Constitution.
I know it's not our Constitution. I know. Get off my dick.
Yeah.
That's but yeah, there's no legal, I guess, requirement for him to be removed. But he didn't just like crash, he like crashed into the side of a house. It wasn't just like
okay.
Like I dinged a parking meter or something, like sloppy Tim. Like no, it was like he literally crashed into a house.
Like he hit a fence or something. Holy shit.
He sort of like punched through a fence and into the wall of like some dude's house.
Whoa.
Yeah, his car was cooked.
Wow. Well, and that guy's wall was cooked.
Who put this house here? This wasn't here before. Yeah, and you look at the car looks totaled. Like the whole
This
front.
is why we need the East-West link.
Bloody dead engines. Put this house here.
Didn't build a road.
But
If you
yeah,
opened up the restrictions earlier, the house wouldn't have been here. There'd be
exactly
no
right.
one-
The house would have been out in Queensland where it belongs. Yeah, so if you look at the car, the whole sort of front and right-hand side of it is completely smashed and sort of caved in. It's on the back of a tow truck. It just looks completely ruined, like obviously a write-off. It's not just like...
Yeah, a very serious accident then. Okay, yeah, that's a more serious crash than I had interpreted from what I read.
I just interpreted a whoopsie daisy into the back of some.
Yeah, like a fender bender or something, yeah.
Comedian Andy Lee tweeted, smashed into my mate's house waiting for a formal apology. Good gear, Andy. Yeah, so I'm sure there'll be some consequences. But yeah, obviously he's been he's received a what's the word? What's it called? A fine, and there'll be a summons, and he could presumably be charged with an offence. And
because we'll know when we know.
Remember in like political shows where like being caught drunk driving was like, oh no, the political people, oh no, this is gonna ruin their careers. Like, oh no, this like it's all over. The senator's son was drunk and it's gonna ruin his. And now we're just like, we can't do anything. he's still we're getting paid by the taxpayer. Yeah, it's nothing we can do. Cool. That's cool.
Yep. It is just that bleak.
On that note. Suzanne, I would like to thank you for joining us here this evening at short notice. Not just, figuring out Discord and going in with no knowledge of the scores whatsoever, but doing so.
Turning the whole screen upside down.
Yes, you were at a 90-degree angle for a portion of it, but the listeners couldn't see that, so it doesn't matter.
I honestly still don't know how you did that.
It's very impressive.
Thank you. I couldn't help but think, I'm like, are we live streaming this? Am I upside down on Twitch?
Yes, you are. You're sideways on Twitch, but we still love you.
God.
Thank you for joining, Susie. Tell the lovely people where they can find you.
Sure. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Suzie, SUZIE_Stevens, STEVENS. When I'm not getting all of my political and pop culture news from listening to Unnatural Selection, I work as a plus-size model and content creator. So if you're interested in fashion and comedy and all that kind of stuff from someone who's very ignorant as to what's happening in the news, then I highly recommend you follow.
Having been a person that's actively followed the news for a decade, I can say it has not enriched my quality of life whatsoever. So it's
you made better choices.
It's why I have less wrinkles than both of you, clearly.
Yes. Well, it seems like a personal attack, but okay, Suze.
I'll turn off the flattering lighting now.
So, what's my spiel? How would I normally end the show? Thanks for listening to Unnatural Selection. Make sure you visit us at our salubrious home on the web, unnaturalshow.com. Make sure you follow us on all the social medias that have, do, or ever will exist at Unnatural Show. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at George Tsipos.
You can follow me on Twitter at Tom D. Heath.
And you can follow us all down to Hawthorne, where we can give Tim Smith some donuts. He seems to really like him. He posts about donuts quite often. So, speedy recovery, Tim. It's going to be a wicked hangover. Thanks for listening, guys. Love your faces. We'll see you next week.
Adam who?